The universe was silent, endless, and dark. Stars shimmered like cold fire, far away from the small blue planet called Earth. From that tiny world, one human stood against the unknown. His name was Ethan Cole. Once he was an engineer, now he was something the universe had never seen before. It all started with a strange signal. It was not from any satellite or known system. The signal repeated one word again and again in a mechanical voice: human. The message came from deep space. Beyond the Milky Way, scientists were confused. Governments were scared, and the people of Earth began to panic. No one knew who or what was calling them. But Ethan, sitting alone in his workshop, decided he would find out. He had built things all his life: machines, drones, small robots. But now he was building something bigger, something that could take him into the unknown. A ship made, not for war, not for trade, but for truth. He called it the Horizon. When he told others his plan, they laughed. They said no human could survive out there. They said he was chasing a dream. But Ethan had already lost everything: his family, his home, his faith in humanity. So he did not care what they said. He wanted to know who sent that signal and why they spoke his name. 3 months later, the Horizon left Earth's orbit. The stars stretched into long lines as the ship jumped into deep space. Ethan watched his planet grow smaller until it was just a blue dot. For a moment, he felt fear. Then, only silence. Days turned into weeks. He passed through empty regions of space, guided by the strange signal. It became stronger, clearer, almost alive. Sometimes it whispered things he couldn't understand. Sometimes it sounded like a heartbeat. Then something happened. The ship's lights flickered. The radar picked up movement, not an asteroid, not debris, something else. A shadow moving fast, following him. Ethan tried to scan it, but the system went blank. Every screen turned black, except one line of text that appeared on the central monitor: "We are watching." He felt cold inside. He tried to send a message back, but before he could, the ship shook violently. A bright flash filled the cabin, and when his eyes adjusted, he saw it: a massive structure floating in space. It wasn't made by humans. Its surface moved like liquid metal, shifting and changing shape. It was alive. The signal stopped. The silence was heavier than before. Then, a voice filled the room. Not through the speakers, but inside his mind. It spoke in perfect English. "You came alone." Ethan froze. "Who are you?" He whispered. "We are the beginning and the end," the voice replied. "We watched your kind rise from dust. You were not ready to answer our call." Ethan's heart pounded. "Then why send it?" "To test your courage," the voice said. "Only one human would dare to come. You." The structure opened slowly, revealing a tunnel of light. His ship was being pulled toward it. No controls working, no power left. He fought to break free, but couldn't. The voice spoke again, softer this time. "Do not resist. Your journey has just begun." Ethan looked at the endless light ahead. Fear mixed with curiosity. He didn't know if this was the end or the start of something greater. The last thing he saw, before his ship disappeared, inside the alien structure, was Earth's reflection fading from his screen. Then everything went dark in that silence. One thought burned inside his mind: if they think humans are weak, they're about to learn how wrong they are. Ethan opened his eyes. He was no longer inside the Horizon. The air was thick and cold. The walls around him were made of shining silver material that moved like it was breathing. There was no sound, no wind, only a low hum that seemed to come from everywhere. He tried to move, but his body felt heavy. His ship was gone. He stood on a floor that glowed softly under his feet. A voice echoed again inside his head. "Do not fear, human. You are safe here." Ethan turned slowly. No one was there. The voice spoke again. "We brought you to the core. Few ever see this place." "Where am I?" Ethan asked. "You are inside what you call a Dyson sphere," the voice said. "A machine built around a dying star. It is older than your species." Ethan's mind raced. A Dyson sphere? That was only a theory on Earth, an impossible structure. But now he was standing inside one. He looked around, realizing he was inside something built by beings beyond imagination. "Why me?" he whispered. "You followed the call," the voice said. "You showed courage when others chose fear. For that, you will see what no human has seen." Suddenly, the walls shifted, opening into a vast chamber. It looked like a city made of light, with towers floating in the air and rivers of energy flowing between them. Ethan walked forward, amazed. The voice continued. "Long ago, we watched your world. We helped your kind grow. But then you forgot us. You turned against each other, built weapons to destroy your home. We waited to see if your species could change." Ethan stopped walking. "So you've been watching humanity all this time?" "Yes," the voice said. "We are the architects. We create life, test it. Some species pass, some do not." Ethan felt anger rising inside him. "You think you can decide who lives or dies? You think you're gods?" There was a pause. "We do not think. We know." The ground beneath him trembled, and the light grew brighter. Images appeared around him, scenes from Earth, wars, pollution, people fighting for survival. Then the image changed. He saw a little girl holding a flower under a broken sky. His daughter. She had died years ago during a war caused by human greed. "Stop it," he shouted. "Why are you showing me this?" "To remind you," the voice said. "Your kind destroys what it loves. But you are different. You came alone. You seek more than survival." Ethan took a deep breath. "If you believe that, then help us. Don't judge us." The light dimmed. For a moment, there was silence. Then the voice said, "Perhaps you can still change, but you must prove it." "How?" "Beyond this chamber is the heart," the voice said. "It powers the sphere and controls the network of our kind across galaxies. If you can reach it and survive, you will earn the right to speak for humanity." The floor opened, revealing a long bridge leading into darkness. The hum grew louder, turning into a deep pulse like a heartbeat. Ethan looked into the dark path. "And if I fail, then your species will be forgotten," the voice said. Ethan felt his pulse racing. He looked down at his hands. They were shaking, but not from fear, from determination. He stepped onto the bridge. Each step made the ground glow under his feet. The light behind him faded as he walked deeper into the unknown. Strange shapes moved in the shadows, mechanical and alive at the same time. Some looked like machines made of glass, others like creatures made of smoke. They watched him, but did not attack. The bridge stretched endlessly, twisting through the glowing heart of the Dyson sphere. After what felt like hours, he reached a giant door. It was covered in symbols that looked like stars arranged in patterns. When he touched it, the symbols moved, forming a new shape, the shape of Earth. The door opened slowly, light spilling out. Inside was something he could not believe. A floating core of pure energy, brighter than the sun, pulsing with rhythm like a heartbeat. Around it were thousands of smaller lights, planets, stars, maybe even entire galaxies being powered by it. Ethan took a step closer, feeling heat and energy rush through his body. The voice returned, softer than before. "This is the heart. Every choice you make here will echo through the stars. Choose wisely, human." He stared into the endless light, feeling both small and powerful at the same time. Somewhere deep inside, he knew that whatever he did next would decide the fate of his entire species. And far away, across the cold black of space, Earth continued to spin, unaware. That one man now carried the weight of humanity on his shoulders. Ethan stood before the glowing core, his heart pounding like the rhythm of the light in front of him. The air vibrated with energy. It was like standing inside a living sun. Every color he had ever seen flowed through it and vanished again, replaced by new shades that had no name. He felt the power pressing against his skin, testing him, almost judging him. The voice spoke again, deeper and slower this time. "The heart is alive. It remembers every species that has stood here before you. Some were brave. Most were not. Now you must prove what makes humans different. Ethan swallowed hard. What do you want me to do? Face your truth, the voice said. The heart will show you what you fear most. If you can overcome it, humanity may have a future. The light around him shifted. The bright chamber dissolved into darkness. Cold air filled his lungs. When he opened his eyes again, he was standing on Earth, or what looked like Earth. The sky was red, the ground dry and cracked. The cities were in ruins. Flames burned in the distance. He could hear the cries of people. No, he whispered, this can't be real. But it felt real. The heat, the smoke, the sound of thunder. He walked through the broken streets and saw familiar faces, soldiers, scientists, and civilians, all running in fear. Then he saw her. His daughter, Lily. She was standing in the middle of the street, holding a flower just like before. Lily. He shouted and ran toward her. She looked up at him, her face calm. Daddy, you left us. Tears filled his eyes. I didn't leave you. I had to go. I had to try and save us. She tilted her head. Save us? Or save yourself? Ethan froze. The voice was hers, but her eyes glowed with the same light as the heart. This is not real, he said, shaking his head. You're not her? Then why does it hurt? She asked softly. He felt the ground shaking. Behind her, something huge rose from the earth, a machine taller than mountains, shaped like a human skull. Its eyes burned with fire. It spoke with 1,000 voices. This is the end you made. You built machines for war, not peace. You built fear, not hope. Ethan looked up at the massive creature. If this is what we've done, then let me fix it. Let me change it. The machine raised a metal arm, lightning crackling from its fingertips. Then show us your strength, human. Ethan ran, jumping over broken walls as the creature struck the ground behind him. Explosions ripped through the street. He found a broken control panel from a fallen drone and ripped out the power core. The creature swung again, and he dived aside, the blast shaking the earth. He jammed the core into a fallen cannon, aimed it at the machine's head, and fired. The beam tore through the air, hitting the creature in the face. It screamed, shaking the sky. Then it exploded into a wave of light that swept everything away. When Ethan opened his eyes again, he was back inside the glowing chamber. The heart pulsed quietly. The voice spoke once more. You faced your fear. You chose hope over despair. Few ever do. Ethan fell to his knees, breathing hard. Was any of that real? What is real? The voice asked. Pain teaches. Fear shapes. You endured both. That is what makes you human. He looked at the heart. If I passed your test, then let me speak to your kind. Let me show them what we can become. There was silence. Then the light dimmed slightly, forming into a shape, a tall figure of pure energy standing before him. It looked almost human. We are many, the figure said, but we have no form. You speak to the echoes of countless civilizations. They failed where you may succeed. Ethan stood slowly. Then give me a chance. The figure moved closer, its voice calm but powerful. We will give you more than a chance. We will give you knowledge. But knowledge has a cost. Before he could ask, the figure touched his forehead. A burst of light filled his mind. Images, memories, stars collapsing, civilizations rising and falling, the history of the universe flashing in seconds. He screamed, clutching his head. When it ended, he fell to the floor, shaking. The figure's voice echoed faintly. Now you carry the memory of worlds. You are the last messenger of your kind. What happens next will decide the fate of humanity. Ethan opened his eyes slowly. The figure was gone. The heart was silent. And when he looked up, he saw the stars outside moving, as if something enormous was approaching the Dyson sphere. Something that was not the architects. Ethan stood in silence, staring at the stars outside the Dyson sphere. The light of the heart still glowed faintly behind him, but something was wrong. The stars were moving, twisting into strange patterns like ripples on water. He wiped the sweat from his forehead and tried to focus the ship's display, but no controls responded. Then he saw it, a dark wave spreading across the edge of the galaxy, swallowing stars like fire dying in the wind. The voice of the architects returned, softer now, almost uncertain. Something approaches that should not exist. We feel its presence, but we cannot stop it. Ethan frowned. What is it? The voice hesitated. It is the unborn. A force that feeds on creation itself. It was sealed beyond time before your world even formed. Now the seal is breaking. Ethan felt his stomach twist. You're saying it destroys everything. Yes, the voice said. Stars, planets, life, even thought. It consumes all energy until nothing remains. The more it feeds, the faster it grows. It is older than the universe, you know. The glowing chamber began to tremble. Streams of light burst from the heart and flew into the walls like veins of lightning. The voice grew louder. Its hunger has awakened because of us. Because we tested your kind. Our signal reached beyond what we could control. Ethan looked out again. The dark wave was closer now. Whole constellations vanished as it advanced. He could feel its pull, like gravity but colder. What do we do? He shouted. There is no we, the voice replied. Only you. What do you mean, only me? You carry the knowledge of countless worlds. You hold the key to the last defense. If you cannot stop the unborn, all life will end. Ethan's breath caught. I'm just one man. You are one human, the voice said. That has always been enough to change everything. The chamber's floor opened beneath him, and light engulfed his body. He felt weightless, spinning through space, through time. The light faded, and suddenly he was inside the horizon again. His ship was restored, systems alive, glowing brighter than ever. But it was different. The controls pulsed like living veins, and his own heartbeat matched the rhythm. The architects had changed the ship. A new message appeared on the main screen, course locked, source of the unborn detected. He could see the coordinates. It wasn't far, only a few light years from the Dyson sphere. Ethan gripped the controls. If this is what you want, I'll end it. He engaged the engines, and the horizon shot forward faster than light. Outside, space bent and twisted like liquid glass. After a few moments, he reached the edge of a massive storm in space. Dark energy swirled in a spiral, pulling light into its center. Inside that storm was a shape enormous, formless, shifting like smoke and fire at the same time. Ethan whispered to himself. So that's the unborn. His ship's scanners screamed with warnings. Radiation levels rose higher than anything ever recorded. Yet the creature didn't attack. It seemed to sense him. A voice filled the cockpit, deep-layered and full of hunger. You carry their light. You carry their mistake. Ethan clenched his fists. I carry humanity, the unborn's voice thundered. Humanity. Fragile dust, pretending to matter. You build, we unmake. You burn, we freeze. You live, we end. Ethan's mind flashed with the images the architects had shown him. Dead worlds, fallen empires, endless darkness. He looked at the control panel. The heart's energy pulsed inside the ship's reactor. It was his only weapon. He whispered, If you want the light, come and take it. The unborn moved. The storm exploded with black lightning. The horizon shook violently as waves of energy slammed against it. The hull screamed under the pressure. Ethan activated the shields, but they began to fail. The voice of the architects echoed faintly. Do not fight its strength. Use your will. The ship is bound to your mind now. Focus your thought. Ethan closed his eyes and took a deep breath. He imagined the light of the heart, burning brighter and brighter. The ship responded. Its metal glowed, its weapons powered up with new energy. When he opened his eyes, the dark around him burned with white light. The unborn roared. You cannot stop what was never born, Ethan shouted back. Maybe not. But I can make sure you never live. He pushed the final command. The ship's reactor began to overload, gathering the energy of the heart into a single point. Alarms screamed. Lights flashed red. The unborn lunged toward him, a wall of darkness. Just before impact, Ethan whispered for Earth. The explosion was silent. A wave of light tore across space, brighter than 1,000 suns. The storm vanished. The darkness was gone, and then nothing, in the quiet that followed. The universe held its breath. Far away, the Dyson sphere flickered once and then grew still. The architects whispered among themselves. He may have done it, or he may have awakened something worse. The light faded slowly. Silence returned to the universe. For a long time, there was nothing. No stars, no sound, no movement. Then, somewhere in that emptiness, a single pulse of light appeared. It grew brighter, like a heartbeat in the dark. Inside that light, something moved. A man. Ethan gasped for air and opened his eyes. He was floating in space, but he could breathe. There was no ship, no suit, yet he was alive. His hands glowed faintly, veins shining with the same light he had seen inside the heart. He looked around and saw stars again, different ones. Unfamiliar. The Dyson sphere was gone. He whispered, "Where?" "Am I?" No answer came. Only the quiet sound of his heartbeat. Then a distant voice spoke inside his mind. "You should not be alive, human." It was the voice of the architects, faint and weak. Ethan turned toward the sound, though there was no direction in space. What happened? Did I destroy it? The voice hesitated. You stopped the unborn. For now. But the explosion tore the threads of reality. You have crossed beyond your universe. Ethan froze. Beyond? Yes, the voice said. You are in the silent expanse, a place between creation and oblivion. No life exists here, no time. Yet you remain. Ethan looked at his hands again. The light was fading slowly, but it pulsed in rhythm with something deep inside him. You changed me, he said. Didn't you? The heart merged with your body, the voice replied. Its energy kept you alive. You are no longer only human. He felt a cold shiver run through him. What am I then? You are what humanity might become, the voice said. But the power you carry is not stable. It will consume you unless you find balance. Ethan looked at the endless dark around him. Then how do I get home? The voice grew distant. There may be no home to return to. The shockwave you created reached across the galaxies. We can no longer see your world. It is silent. His heart sank. No, Earth can't be gone. The silence around him grew heavier. He closed his eyes and tried to remember the blue sky, the sound of the ocean, his daughter's laughter. He held those memories tightly. And then something strange happened. The space around him began to shimmer. A faint blue light appeared, forming a small circle in front of him. It looked like a window. He moved closer and saw through it the planet Earth. It was still there. Spinning quietly in the dark, peaceful. He felt tears in his eyes. It's alive, he whispered. But the image flickered, and he saw something else. Shadows moving in the upper atmosphere. Strange dark shapes circling the planet like hunters waiting to strike. The voice of the architects returned. The unborn left fragments of itself behind. They seek your world. If they reach it, everything you did will be undone. Ethan clenched his fists. Then I'll stop them. Cannot fight them as you are now, the voice said. You must understand your new strength. The heart's power obeys your will. But if your mind breaks, it will destroy you and everything near you. Ethan looked at his reflection in the faint light. His eyes were glowing like twin stars. Then I'll learn, he said. Even if it kills me. The blue window expanded, forming a swirling tunnel of light. The voice faded away. Remember, human power means nothing without purpose. Do not become what you fought to stop. Ethan took a deep breath and stepped into the light. His body felt like it was burning and freezing at the same time. When he opened his eyes again, he was inside the horizon, or what was left of it. The ship had rebuilt itself around him, powered by his own energy. The controls moved when he thought. The engines hummed with his pulse. He set a course for Earth. The stars stretched around him once again. But this time he could feel them, not just see them. He could sense the life in each star, the hum of every planet. It was beautiful and terrifying. As he approached his home system, the stars around him began to dim. The The darkness he had seen earlier was spreading faster now. It wasn't just fragments, it was something else. Something new, Ethan whispered to himself. If the unborn can't have the universe, they'll take my world. He tightened his grip on the controls. His ship glowed brighter than ever, a trail of white fire behind it. His voice was calm but full of resolve. You took everything from me. You tested humanity. Now, it's our turn. Far ahead, Earth's blue light flickered in the dark. The final battle was waiting. The stars around him began to fade one by one. Darkness spread like ink through the sky. Ethan's ship glowed brighter, a small spark fighting against an ocean of night. Earth was close now. He could see its blue surface, its clouds, the familiar continents. But something else was there, black shapes circling the planet, dozens of them, twisting and pulsing with dark light. They moved like living shadows. Ethan gripped the controls. The ship hummed with energy, responding to his thoughts. His voice was low and steady. Not this time. The first shadow lunged toward him. It moved faster than any ship could, its body stretching like smoke. Ethan focused, and the horizon flared white. The blast of light cut through the dark shape, tearing it apart, but the pieces reformed instantly. They were learning, adapting. Inside his mind, the faint voice of the architects echoed again. They cannot be destroyed by force. You must change their nature. Then show me how, he shouted. You already know, the voice said. You carry the heart, the power to create, not destroy. Remember what makes you human. Ethan took a deep breath. He thought of his daughter, her smile, the way she had once said, Daddy, you can fix anything. The memory burned brighter than any star. The ship responded, its energy pulsing with warmth instead of violence. The next wave of shadows came, and instead of firing, Ethan reached out with his mind. The light from the horizon changed, softer now, golden. It spread through space like sunlight through water. The shadows screamed as the light touched them. Instead of vanishing, they began to glow, their shapes turning clear, transforming into patterns of light. They were not dying. They were changing. Ethan realized the truth. The unborn were not evil. They were unfinished. They were the raw chaos of creation, life that never learned to live. The architects had locked them away because they feared what they didn't understand. He spoke softly. You're not meant to end life. You're meant to begin it. The shadows slowed. The storm around Earth began to fade. The golden light from Ethan's ship spread farther, touching every fragment of darkness. One by one, shapes dissolved into glowing dust that drifted toward the stars. The voice of the architects returned, filled with awe. You did what even we could not. You gave chaos purpose. Ethan smiled faintly. No, I just reminded it what life feels like. But the power inside him was fading fast. The light from his hands dimmed, and the ship's engines began to lose strength. The heart's energy was burning out. He knew what that meant. His body couldn't hold it much longer. He looked at Earth, peaceful, safe, shining under the sunlight. For the first time in a long time, it looked alive again. He whispered, Lily, I kept my promise. The voice of the architects grew softer. Your body will not survive. But your essence, your memory, can live on. The choice is yours. Ethan looked at the planet below. Let me stay here. Let me become part of what I saved. The light around him began to expand, surrounding the ship. His body felt lighter, dissolving into warmth and calm. His thoughts slowed, but they were clear. He could feel the ocean waves, the forests, the cities, the heartbeat of billions of lives. He was everywhere and nowhere. The architects whispered one last time. One human changed the universe. The horizon melted into pure light and vanished. In its place, a soft, golden wave spread around Earth's orbit, forming a shield that shimmered like dawn. It wrapped around the planet, protecting it from the dark forever. Down below, people looked up at the sky that night and saw a new star shining brighter than all others. They didn't know its name, but they felt peace when they looked at it. Scientists called it the Guardian Star. No one knew that it wasn't a star at all. It was Ethan Cole. His light watched over them. silent and eternal and far beyond. In the endless dark of the universe, something stirred. The architects looked toward a distant galaxy where new lights were beginning to form. The unborn. Reborn, creating instead of consuming. A new voice echoed through the stars. It sounded almost human. The universe was not the same anymore. Because once, in its infinite silence, one human had dared to stand alone, and the universe had listened.